Darrell Issa, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, is saying that the committee taking about a 10-minute break. They've been at it for just over 4 hours, a hearing on the attacks on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya on September 11th, 2012. We're going to stay here live and open up our phone lines to hear from you about what you've seen over the past 4 hours or so. The numbers to use to call in are for Democrats, 202-585-3885. For Republicans, 202-585-3885. Independents and others, that's 202-585-3887. We will also check our Facebook page. We posted a question earlier today about your thoughts on the Benghazi investigation, and in particular what you're hearing today from the three witnesses, Gregory Hicks, Eric Nordstrom, and Mark Thompson. So that's facebook.com/cspan. For those of you on Twitter, our hashtag today is Benghazi. Lots of tweets. We'll get to a couple of them, as we will get to your phone calls as well. Again, it should be about 10-15 minutes for this break in the House Oversight Committee. Just a couple other notes, too. Of the 5 or more hours we expect of hearings today, we're going to play back the highlights, some of the highlights this evening on C-SPAN, beginning at about 9 o'clock Eastern. And we'll also have that for you at Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, highlights from today's hearing. Again, it's gone 4 hours already. The word from the committee is it could go several hours more. So lots to see, lots to talk about. Rich is in White Plains, New York, on a Republican line. Hi, Rich.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing fine, thanks.
I think it's pretty obvious that there's a cover-up by the testimony given today in Congress. People who were there are saying that there was absolutely no protest, that this was an attack, there was no demonstration, and the administration has to explain themselves as to how they came about with the false narrative put forward by Susan Rice.
Alfred Maine is next up, Republican line. There's Dylan. Hi, Dylan. Go ahead.
Hi, I've got a comment for the Democrats. They need to clean it up and get their act together here. We're looking for some real clean answers that shouldn't be that difficult. The truth is, has been told once. It needs to be black and white with the Democrat folks on the side, and there needs to be no room for error here. We're a strong country. Benghazi was a horrible attack, and we're ready to move forward. Period.
Next up, we go to the independent line. Joe in Orlando, Florida. Joe, you've been watching. What have you seen or heard so far in the hearing?
I've watched it all. I'm surprised it didn't take a lunch break, but I watched. I find it scandalous that not one Democrat has asked one question about anything that happened. It doesn't seem like they're interested at all. Being an independent, I watched Ambassador Rice. It doesn't pass the smell test. Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Rice all talked about this video, and they knew it wasn't true. There's no way anyone can think that thought that story was true. And it's scandalous that nobody on the Democratic side seems to be interested in that.
Of course, hearings were held in the 112th Congress Oversight Committee of the House. This is their first hearing on the issue in the 113th Congress. Again, hearing from three witnesses today, three State Department witnesses. They're in a break here. We continue with your phone calls. Sterling, Virginia. Paul's next, Republican line.
Hello.
Go ahead. Hi, Paul.
Hi, yeah, I just kind of wanted to comment on the Democrats' very lockstep sort of agenda here, trying to blame everything on the funding, even though all the witnesses have very coherently and very explicitly stated that the major issue has been the decisions made by people higher up in the organization, the Secretary or Assistant Secretary of State. And I just don't see any room for blaming it on the funding that was decided by the House of Representatives earlier in the year.
Let's see what folks on Twitter are saying as we wait for the committee to gavel back in. Again, the hashtag we're using is Benghazi. Here's one from TV Capitalism, who writes, if the media was wondering why the majority of Americans have lost faith in them, they should look at their own Benghazi coverage. Another one here from Richard, Jersey City. Darrell Issa, instead of spending my tax dollars on Benghazi, what about no weapons of mass destruction? And here's one from Liliana, who retweets. She says, also Watergate, this tweet that says, I remember as a kid, Iran-Contra on every channel. Today, Benghazi cover-up, not a peep on ABC, NBC, or CBS. Joel's in Woodland Hills, California. He's on our Democrats line. Joel, go ahead.
Yes, I just find this, as a Democrat, I find this to be just ridiculous and embarrassing for me as a Democrat to hear these Democrats, look at the truth and not back the truth. And I just think that this whole group, from Obama to Hillary Clinton, should be held responsible for what they did. And it's quite obvious what they did. Not only the cover-up, but they didn't protect those people.
On the center of your screen, there's Representative Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota. She's not a member of the committee. She has been sitting in the hearing since the start. Also, you may have been watching earlier, you may have seen former Congressman Pete Hoekstra from Michigan, who was once the ranking Republican on the Select Intelligence Committee. He sat through a good bit of the hearing today. They're in a break, back in a few minutes. Live coverage continuing here on C-SPAN. On C-SPAN Radio, and we welcome our C-SPAN Radio listeners to the conversation, which, by the way, if you're traveling around, it's on XM Satellite Radio, Channel 119. East Lake, Ohio. Jackie, welcome to our conversation. Go ahead.
Hi. I love the way it's scripted by the Republicans. They apparently got together with the three people ahead of time, and they were very well versed on the subject. The questions were so nicely answered and so well scripted. I must give the Republicans their due. They did a job. They're doing their best to bring down a president and to make sure that Mrs. Clinton has something bad on her record for 2016. Thank you. Some
of the testimony of Gregory Hicks was released early by the committee earlier this week, and maybe some of what you're referring to as well. In Springdale, Arkansas, is Patty. She's on our Republican line. Go ahead, Patty.
Yeah, hi.
Hi there.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm the longest-running continuous disability claim. And then the Democrats, I don't think they have it on a straight question. They keep going to, the budget, the money and everything. Well, that's partially probably true, but that doesn't account for what happened to them on September 11th. No one's bringing up the fact September 11th, 9/11. It just amazes me. But I tell you what, if I was a Democrat, I wouldn't be anymore.
Patty, thanks for the call. Here's what some of the lots of comments on Facebook, some of them here. This is from Kilo Sierra, who writes, there never was an attempt to get military overflights permission that day in Libya. That's a question. Meanwhile, some of the Dems in this hearing are spending their time injecting Media Matters talking points and diversions. Tracy says, I am watching. What proof? Where? John Barry says, we are the most powerful nation on earth, plus we had just helped militarily in taking down the previous government, even had a couple of our planes shoot down. We didn't get permission just to do it. Besides, what are the Libyans going to do, come over and invade us? And finally, Elizabeth Jane Shackelford saying they're just blowing wind in the wind. It's a witch hunt. Tom's in Westminster, Maryland, calling on the Independence line. Tom, go ahead.
Hi. Comment is very quick. I just wanted to say I think it's very much a shame that we'll probably never get to the bottom of this due to the fact that it's so transparently clear that the parties are sticking to party loyalty.
Well, take the testimony today. Does the testimony today get us any closer to that clarity you're talking about?
Well, I think the Republicans are doing a better job at ferreting out facts. It seems the Democrats are doing a better job at party protection.
Tom, thanks for the call. Here in Washington, Mike's on our Democrats line.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Two real quick comments. At some point, they made Susan Rice's talk show appearance the official statement. Never was. Obama said the day after this was an act of terror. So right there, we're looking at a situation where they're trying to basically frame a specific narrative specifically with, exactly at what point did they call this an act of terror? Was it a terrorist incident? Was it the protest, et cetera? Second thing, the Republicans are doing their best to try and nail the State Department and or the National Security Team, but not point fingers at the generals who made the security decisions in the first place. This testimony is pretty much pointing out that at some point there were military individuals who made military decisions about the kind of protection that he should have had, that Ambassador Stevens should have had, and no one's willing to really kind of go any further and say, well, wait a minute, should we be looking at exactly whether or not we should be pointing fingers at military officials? No, let's keep it up with the state officials and with the Obama administration officials.
Mike, thanks for your call. Some of the video you're watching just there, the video from earlier of Chairman Issa, and just to let you know, they're gathering back in the room. We'll be going back there live shortly here on C-SPAN. And a quick reminder about our programming coming up this evening and on Sunday. If you missed any of today, we will have the highlights for you tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern. That'll be here on C-SPAN. Same on Sunday, except it'll be 10:30 a.m. Eastern, the highlights from today's testimony. Let's go to Steve, who's in Montrose, Alabama, Republican.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
In a situation where 4 people have been murdered, it's even odd that we have a Democrat.
Steve, I'm going to have to cut you loose there. Sorry. Thanks for waiting. The hearing has gavelled back in. Thanks for all your calls.